Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to Tot Shabbat. I'm here with Cantor Cotler and Rabbi Memis-Foler, and we're so happy to bring you Tot Shabbat. We're not at Beth Emet, and you're not at Beth Emet, and we wish we could be, but we're all together on Zoom on this beautiful Shabbat morning. And we're going to bring you a regular Tot Shabbat with singing and a story, and we'll even have an art project afterwards for everybody to do together. So here we go, Rabbi Memis-Foler.
And there's also a bonus because this Shabbat is called Shabbat Hagadol. It's the Shabbat before Passover. So we're going to have some special Passover songs at the end. I can't wait. So we're going to start off with some of our favorite Shabbat songs like Ma Yafeh Hayom, how wonderful and beautiful it is this day, and Bim Bam. Please join the cantor.
Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Get out those bims, get out those bombs. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Chiri, biri, biri, bim, bam. Bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Let's get really quiet now. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Bim, bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam.
I think we're ready. Are you ready to pray? Nod your heads, Kathy and Cantor Cotler. He put his thumbs up. We're ready to play. So if we're able to, let's all stand up and we're going to do the Baruch Hu and Shema.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. we do the Shema, we have to remember there's a couple things we have to do first. The first thing we have to do is what, Kathy and Amy? We gotta get quiet. And then the next thing we do, we put our fingers on our head like we're thinking really hard, and we go, And then when it's quiet and we think really hard, sometimes we get good ideas and we go, ah. And if we put that together, we get ah. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Even my dog wants to sing Shema too.
And so we can be seated as if we were together in Beth Emet, we would get ready for the next part of our Tot Shabbat, and that would be taking out the Torah. But I'm in my house, and I don't keep a Torah scroll in my house. And actually, I don't even have a stuffed Torah, but I do have this book, and this book is called the Torah, and it has all the stories in the Torah in it as well. It's the Hebrew and the English, and then all kinds of comments about the Torah. So I think what we can do is we can stand up and sing Eitz Chaim, that tree of life, and think of this book like the Torah scroll. And if you want to dance around like we dance with the Torah, please do so to Eitz Chaim Hi. It's a tree of life.
Shalom, 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 shalom. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, shalom, it is a tree. Shalom, shalom, it's not a bush. Shalom, shalom, the tree of life. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
So now I want to share with you a story. It's not a story that's in the Torah, but it is a story about one of the holidays that is in the Torah. Can you guess what holiday that is? We mentioned it a little bit earlier. You guessed right. It's the holiday of Passover. So I want to tell you a story. Maybe it's like a story you already know, but it's got a little bit of a Passover twist to it. It's called The Little Red Hen and the Passover Matzah. So I'm going to need a few helping things. And one of them, if it's a little red hen, well, she needs to get ready by putting on her bandana because she is going to work. You see, the little red hen realized that the time was coming to plant the seeds, the grains that she needed for the wheat to grow to make her matzah. And so she went out and she asked her friends if any of them would help her plant the grains. She went to the sheep and she said, "Will you help me plant the grains?" And the sheep said, "Not I." And then she went to her friend, the cow, and said, "Will you help me plant the grains?" And the cow said, "Not I." And then she went to her other friend, the dog, and the dog said, "Not I." So I guess I will just have to plant the grains myself. So maybe you can help me. can you put the grains in the ground? And then she added water. Can you add some water? Yeah, and she waited. She waited for the days to pass, the sun to come up, shine on, and then she watered some more. Can you add some more water to that? That's right. And the grains began to grow. And so she went back to her friends when it was time to reap, to cut down those stalks of wheat. And she said to her friends, can anyone help me cut down the wheat? And who came along? The sheep. And what did the sheep said? Well, the sheep also says, bah, but the sheep said, not I. And then the cow came by, and the cow also said, moo, not I. And then the dog came along and said, woof, but also said, not I. Well, then I guess I'll just have to cut the wheat down by myself. So let's do that. Let's cut down the wheat. We have our sickle, and we're cutting down the wheat. And then she gathered it all together. She wrapped it in a bundle. And then she had so much, it was heavy to carry. She said, who will help take this bundle of wheat with me to the miller to have the wheat ground into flour? And so the sheep came along and said, bah, not I. Then the cow came along and said, moo, not I. And then the dog came along and said, arf, not I. So the little red hen took that big bundle of wheat herself to the miller. And then the miller took the wheat and he ground it in this big stone that he had to put in big circles, and it ground the wheat until it was just fine flour, and put it all in a sack. And the little red hen took that sack and brought it home. And she says, now I need to make the matzah. Well, is there anyone who will help me make the matzah? The sheep said, bah, not I. The cow said, moo, not I. And the dog said, arf, not I. So the little red hen said, then I guess I will just have to make the matzah myself. And so she did. She poured the flour in a bowl. Can you pour that flour in a bowl? And she added some water. And then she got her big spoon out and she began to stir. Can I see you stir that dough of the matzah? And you know, when we make matzah, we make a matzah, pat, pat, pat. Do not make it fat, fat, fat. Make a matzah, flat, flat, flat. Make a matzah just like that. And so that's what the little red hen did. She made her matzah flat. So let's see how flat you can get your matzah. Are you patting it down real flat? And then she took the dough and she put it in the oven and she timed it. So it was exactly from the time she began to mix the dough to out of the oven, it was 18 minutes. And then she got ready for Passover and the Seder. And she set the table and she added things like
Rabbi, you muted yourself.
Who was it? Well, it was the sheep and the cow and the dog. They all wanted to have Seder with her and have Passover. And she was thinking, well, you didn't help me plant the grains, and you didn't help me reap the wheat, and you didn't help me schlep the bundle of wheat to the miller, and you didn't help me make or bake it. But you know what? It's Passover, so come on in. And so together they ate the delicious matzah, and had a wonderful Seder. The end. And so now, Cantor, we welcome us some Passover songs.
For the first song, everyone should take out a hammer and a shovel. If you don't have one handy, use your imagination. Bang, 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 your hammer's low. Bang, 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 give a heavy blow. For it's work, 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 every day and every night. For it's work, 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 when it's dark and when it's light. Dig, 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 dig your shovel deep. Dig, 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 there's no time to sleep. For it's work, 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 every day and every night. For it's work, 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 when it's dark and when it's light. And now you might remember that in Egypt, a long, long time ago, when the Pharaoh would not let the Jews go, there were not 1, not 2, not 5, not 9, 10 plagues. And one of those plagues was a really, well, a lot of them were yucky, but this one was very yucky. Frogs were everywhere. And this is a song about Pharaoh's experience with those frogs. One morning when Pharaoh woke in his bed, there were frogs in his bed and frogs on his head. Frogs on his nose and frogs on his toes. Frogs here, frogs there. Frogs were jumping everywhere. And we have the classic Passover song. This is one that will be stuck in your head for days and days. And parents, I apologize in advance if your kids sing this nonstop for the next 2-3 weeks. Ilu hotzi hotzianu mi Mitzrayim, hotzianu mi Mitzrayim, dayenu, 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 dayenu. Ilu natan lanu et Shabbat, natan lanu et Shabbat, dayenu, 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 dayenu. Ilu natan lanu et Torah, natan lanu et Torah, dayenu, 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 dayenu. Turn it over to you, Kathy.
Thank you, Cantor Cotler, and thank you, Rabbi Memis-Foler. And before you leave, let's wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom and give everybody a big virtual hug. Can we give a big hug to everybody?
Shabbat Shalom.
Big hug. Hug the people in your family, hug the people that are in your house, hug your stuffed animals. Lots of hugging on Shabbat and every day. We need to feel that closeness and that love and that support in our community and in our family. And we wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Thank you to the clergy. Thank you to the rabbi and Cantor. And now, if you want to stick around, families, we're going to do a little Pesach art project. So we'll say goodbye to the rabbi. We'll say goodbye to the Cantor. And I'm going to show you a few things that maybe you'll have handy. You'll need a paper plate.
Okay. Kathy, just so you know, you have about 10 minutes left on the call, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach.
Shabbat Shalom. So to do this project, you'll need a paper plate. You'll need a pair of grown-up scissors. You'll need some string or a lanyard or a shoelace or something like that. And something with holes in it. I found pasta. You might have keys, old kind of keys that have a hole in the top. You might have bolts from your basement hardware supplies. You might have all kinds of things that have holes in them. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a timbrel so that at your Seder, when you're singing songs, you'll have a noisemaker, a music maker to go along with your singing. So take your paper plate, fold it in half, and you want to cut out in the center a circle like this. So that your paper plate looks like this. Hello, Shabbat Shalom. And when you've done that, you can take your scissors. This is definitely a grown-up job. You might have a hole punch. I don't think I have one here. And make little holes around the perimeter of your paper plate. So I don't know if you can see, I punched about 5 or 6 holes in the bottom of my paper plate. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my string, put it through one of the holes, and then lace a couple of noodles on there, and then go through the next hole. So put the string through the hole, put a couple of noodles on, put the string through the noodle, a couple of noodles maybe. And then go take your string and put it through the next hole. So I'm pulling the string through the second hole. You can see the noodles hanging on the first one. And now I'm going to take the end of my string and string a couple more noodles on. Not so easy, but not impossible either. There's one. And here's another one. And you're going to keep doing this all the way around your paper plate, stringing noodles as you go through the holes, so that when you're done, you will have a timbrel that you can shake it, and it makes a little bit of noise. If you have metal things, of course, they'll make a clanky noise. I have noodles, they make a soft noise. You could add different kinds of materials. As long as it'll stay with the string, as long as you can put the string through it, you'll be able to create your timbrel. And that is how we make timbrels for Pesach. Wishing you all a Chag Sameach and a Shabbat Shalom. And please keep in touch with us at Beth Emet. We love to hear from folks. If you have questions, if you have comments, feedback, if you need something from us, please don't hesitate to be in touch. And meanwhile, we're sending you lots of love from wherever we are, each in our own homes, and wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom. Bye-bye.